darkness cannot cloud your reality, for it is exactly that. Spitting fire in the booth, but I'm not a rapper. Purpleroom RecordingZ, episode 185, 184. This after a while, it's just all a blur. Was good. It's been 40 something days since the last podcast, right? But we're trying to upload as often as I can on YouTube. I think I'm as here's the thing with me, bro. You know, I can't even do a proper intro. But the honest truth is I have never been, despite what I know and the work I've put into and the experience I have with social media, I've never been a big social media person. I can't even kind of pretend like that's true. I don't like it. I think it's bad for you. I think it's bad for us. I think it's just overall a really big hindrance on your health mentally. And then because your mental health is cooked, your physical health is also like the next thing to go. But with that being the case, I can't deny how powerful of a tool it is. The way you can use social media to your advantage, especially nowadays, is remarkable. So for those reasons and those reasons alone are the only that's why I interact with it, because it's a way that I can connect with a lot of you, and it's a way that, you know, it's just so I can connect with you guys, get as many of you eyeball watchers, you hunters, collect more hunters. We're currently at 390 hunters. I think we can get to 500 pretty soon if we, you know, put the work in and stick to the objective. But like I was saying, so in between the time of me putting out Genetically Altered, which was the latest episode, if you want to check it out, it's right here. Oh, sorry, it's over here. It's this one. It was a lot of it was, okay, what do we talk about now? Because Genetically Altered was, you know, like I said, was my reintroduction into having a podcast, because on YouTube, a lot of you don't know that I had one. You know, my fan base is kind of broken up into pieces. So I never really had a strong fan base on YouTube. So I originally started you know what? Just watch Genetically Altered. That's not why I'm here. Just watch Genetically Altered and you can hear my spill and, you know, figure out a little bit more about how I think and whatnot. But for those of you who have been here the whole time, with everything that's just been going on in the world, it didn't feel right to speak about, you know, like, you know, football and, you know, the Packers choking and the goddamn playoffs again. And, you know, whatever the case may be, it did not feel correct for me to just skip past all of that or skip past all of the bullshit, you know, pardon my French. I know it's early for me to be cussing in this episode, but just all of the nonsense that's been going on in the world, it didn't feel right for me to just say, oh, we're not going to talk about any of that. We're not going to address any of that. Let's just talk about like the bread and what is it called? Bread and circus on the world. You know, this is the time. And also, I'm not a political person. Not at all. Not at all. I could give a less. I think all of them are disgusting, scheming, conniving people that have only their interests and their interests at heart. They don't care about me. They for sure don't care about me or people that look like me. And they don't care about you either. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter about, it doesn't, like, skin color is not necessarily a driving force for them not caring about us, though it is a pretty big one with like specific people. But more to the point, what they care about is who has money, who has influence, and who doesn't. So if you don't, they don't care nothing about you. But that's the thing. It's God's side and the other side. That's really that's what this feels like. You know, from these innocent people getting gunned down in the streets in in Minnesota to, you know, all this bullshit with Epstein, and it kind of feels like everything is all working within one disgusting cabal. You know, they fuck with damn it. Sorry, they rock with who they rock with, and they don't with who they don't. And it really does. It does feel that way. And in a time and an age where, like I'm saying, dude, we can talk to everybody. Everybody has taps on everything. We know what people in New York are doing, and then people in California, they can see what we're doing. You know, they know what we're going through. We know what they're going through. It's all out in the open now. You can't hide it forever. You can't do it. It's impossible to do so. And thank fuck. At least they gave us that, right? Because I feel like you can even regulate the internet. My nose. Itchy. I needed, you know what I need? One of those things of nose hair trimmers. Feel my nose hairs dancing in my nose when I talk. Fucking nose hairs doing the goddamn gritty. But damn it, where was I? With the stuff going on in the world, like, dude, who is supposed to? How am I gonna get on here with a clear conscience, bro, and talk about how this lady, this mother that lived in Minnesota was just killed for no reason? You know what I'm saying? Or this guy who was an who was a registered nurse can get his gun pulled off of him and then mag dumped with his own gun, with his hands tied behind his back, his stomach on the floor. Like, how can I do that? You know what I mean? It didn't feel right. It didn't feel right. So I just decided, because like I'm saying, social media is heavy as far as the content that they decide that is on there. And like I'm saying, I think it's just a palpability thing. Like, I just have to develop that skin, because when it comes to like people, okay, when it comes to like on Twitter, how the majority of the time it feels like all Twitter is just people arguing, and whether they actually care about the subject matter or not, they are there to argue and to give their, or I should probably say, give their unbiased opinion, right? But with that being the case, I think it's completely within the realm of possibility that I don't want to see any of that. That's really just all that it is. But since, you know, my little hiatus, I've been just viewing as much as I can of the stuff that's been going on. And dude, it's terrible. It's depressing. It's fucking shameful. It's disgusting. And like I said, dude, we're 7 minutes in. I don't want to cuss, but that's just that's how I am. Like, this is how I feel. It's ridiculous how these things can keep happening. And then the other thing is, like, people are now saying, you know, I'm not going to say who, but we know who. Oh, they're killing Americans now. This has been happening. This just hasn't happened to you. It just hasn't happened to people that look like you. It's been happening to people that look like everybody else this whole time. But now so what? The revolution starts because a bunch of you actually realize that no, they're not for you, despite your skin color. It doesn't have anything to do with that. Do you have power, money, and influence? If the answer is no, then you are not on their side. It has nothing to do with skin tone. It doesn't have anything to do with that. It doesn't have anything to do with political view, birthright, none of that. If you don't have those things, there's a dude that's probably darker than who's a really dark black guy. What is his name? Eric Blackson. Michael Blackson. There's a dude darker than Michael Blackson that has all three of the things I just mentioned, that being money, power, and influence. And he's kicking it with people that are crystal clear, like Targaryen white, you know, and they're hunky-dory, happy to hang out with each other. Why is that? I thought it didn't have anything to do. I thought it was a skin color thing. No, it's not. No, it's not. It has everything to do with who they rock with in their own disgusting little hole. And a lot of that gets spun up, and they try to create distractions and do things to like invoke people's emotions. And they try to control you by fear mongering. And because they know most of the time, it's going to work. Most of the time. When you meet violence is only ever going to get solved by violence. That is, history tells us that. That's all that you're doing here. So if you don't want a revolution, or if these people don't want a revolution, like, then what are they doing then? Because I swear to God, it kind of feels the same. You know what I mean? When the rich start getting eaten and then replaced with other people that kind of know what they're doing, and then the cycle starts all over again. That's kind of feels like we're at the stage where sooner or later something or someone is going to just break the camel's back, and then all hell is going to break loose. That's what it feels like. You don't feel it? You don't feel it? It feels like an energy. Feel angry, motivated, anger. I'm not not fear. Definitely no fear. I don't fear no man type shit. You know what I'm saying? It ain't that, but it has everything to do with what you are willing to put up with. That's all it is. Because you can't say to a bunch of folks that we can just come into your cities and start fucking popping people, and there's nothing you can do about it until somebody else that isn't you puts one of your dudes down, and then it's on, right? Then it's on. Because and I know they're going to try to exterminate that whole neighborhood. We all know it. And then what's going to happen? A bunch of people that live in that state are going to just start hunting ICE people. That's what's going to happen. And then it's going to come to a breaking point where either they're going to have to send military forces in to suppress the matter, but we all know they won't do that because that's how you shit on the economy. You need money to do things. But it's going to, I'm speculating. Like I said, I'm not a political person. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But like what I'm trying to loop this, like I'm trying to tie this, it's like I'm trying to knit, right? But with this happening, all of these ICE people, all of these resources getting dumped into ICE for no reason is all because of this mutt. This Patel guy, the head of the FBI. I don't know. Listen to me. Like I'm going to keep saying it because I'm going to have a video, a pretty long in-depth video, or, partially in-depth video of Epstein and all of the disgusting folks that he was associating with during like the height of his power, and the island and the files and the pictures and the whatnot. That's going to come out sometime, probably late this week, mid next week. Because the recording of this is going to come out the 4th. Okay, so with that being the case, I'm going to just say it as many times as I can. I'm not a big political person. I don't care about it. Like, but especially right now, I don't think especially if you live in America, I don't think you have a choice but to be a political person. You know what I mean? Because the stuff that's happening, we can all agree is not okay. Whether you are a Trump fan or a Kamala Harris fan or, the attack helicopter republic, whatever side you stand on, we can all openly agree. Yeah, maybe, popping innocent people in their homes, in their cars, outside of their workplaces. Yeah, that's not okay. Tearing people's families apart and doing the most to ensure that that's the goal of what you're doing, it's probably not okay. And more to the point, letting rich billionaires who control the majority of the wealth in the United States, the world, let's be honest here, organize an elaborate sex trafficking, human trafficking child ring, and then only like 15, 25 years later do we find out partially of what all of that was. Are you kidding me? If you were to, the tinfoil hat people were right. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy to say that out loud, but I'm telling you, no one says anything consistently for free. That's not a thing. If you go if there are murders happening all around the United States and everybody is saying there are murders happening right here in our little town, is this propaganda or is that actually happening? No. If the amount of people that are actually saying, people have been saying this for years, that Epstein was a freak, that the government was corrupt, that there were payoffs and super weird like sex parties and like there are children involved and no one cares. Like this has been going on for decades, and only now do we get to hear about it. Only now does this actually get to come into the light. Better late than never, sure, but Jesus Christ, it had to take this long? Come on now. And it doesn't make any sense how, like I said, there are people today who are today alive that are on that list. Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, Prince Andrew, the list goes on. You have people who have done, there's video evidence, picked photo evidence, call logs, emails between these parties that, it's all out in the open now, and no one, and the only person that is in jail for it is a woman. How the fuck does that even make sense? How does that make sense? That don't make no sense. You mean to tell me the super crazy elaborate sex trafficking ring that was organized by Epstein and all of his disgusting sycophants, this crazy ass island, getting the kids, whatever, he did all of it. He is responsible for it. But the person that got held responsible and got thrown in with the garbage and put their feet to the fire was a woman. That doesn't make it any. That doesn't even sound real. That's like some cartoon. Just gonna tweak. Okay, good. Hold on, I gotta sneeze. Whew. Very nice. My thing crashed, so I don't even know where I left off, but I'm gonna just keep talking about Epstein. The thing is, like I'm saying, you can't hold a woman responsible for something like that, but that's where I'm talking about. All the men they're all bitch. They're all pussy. None of them want to go to jail for this. No, it can't be me. It can't be me. It should be you. The fuck? I thought you guys were all in this together. I thought this was a group effort. You mean to tell me you guys can... Wow, I was going to say something so crazy. You guys can all participate in like these extremely disgusting taboo acts that involve like I'm trying really hard, guys. Trying really hard. I think I'm just gonna let it fly now. We're 15 minutes in, so prepare yourself for the worst, bro. Like I said, if you're listening to this, you know who I am. You have to know who I am. You have to. The reputation is I don't care. That is the thing. So again, like I said, if you have an issue with what I am about to say, we know what side you're on, and you can go fuck yourself. But like I'm saying, you have a fucking ring of kid fuckers, and all of these people just it's just not a good time to be an American. This is sad. This is some really disgusting shit. I'll share something with all of you. I work with children. I do, and I love the work that I do. I really do. Watching them grow, watching them figure things out for themselves, watching them be curious, be happy, experience emotions for the first time, go through school and figure out what they want to do with their lives, and you being a mentor for them, a guiding light. You leave little breadcrumbs, little trails. You give them knowledge about you, and then they apply that to their life. I love that. You know what I mean? All of the role models that I ever had in my life were that to me. They gave me those little steps and the encouragement for me to just like pursue whatever it was that I wanted to do, and I really appreciated that. So I try to do that whenever I can, because the work that I do doesn't really call for all that. But either way, I'm seeing all these kids have fun, and they're all playing with their friends, and for a moment, for a brief moment, I thought to myself while I was watching the kids at play, what kind of sick animal would want to interrupt this for their own like disgusting fucking crazy fantasy? Like, who would want it? What kind of man wants that? Who does that? It doesn't make sense to me. Guys, it does not make sense to me. Like when you say, okay, Epstein's a pedophile. Okay, I fucking believe it. And then you see the files, and then you hear the stories, and then he went to jail in 2008 for fucking a 17-year-old or something. We already knew that guy was weird when that happened. But these videos on Twitter of this guy like on top of on top of a table, and he's like chasing these black boxes who are children, right, around this, this table, and he's like hopping on top of it, and him laying with kids, and him like trying to bite one of the girls, and like him sleeping next to the girls, and these creepy, fat, disgusting pieces of shit like on top of it. It was fucking terrible. It was terrible. It made me feel great sadness when I thought about that, and I was looking at the kids, and then it just made me extremely angry. It just made me irate, insanely fucking angry that someone would want to ruin that. Someone would want to impose their disgusting fucking will in a negative way on that. You know what I mean? Kids can't process things. It doesn't make sense to them. Why would you want to scar them for the rest of their fucking life? I saw Chris Hansen a couple of days ago. He interviewed someone that was a victim of Epstein, and this was when all of this. And let me be clear before I say anything. Whether you're 12 years old or 20 years old, your pain is 100% valid, and that because of that piece of shit man and hundreds of other ones that were all playing his disgusting fucking devil game. They're all condemned to hell. We all know that. But watch it. She said that she got trafficked by Epstein when she was 20 years old. And she's way older now. She's like, I think she was in her 50s. And when she was talking to Chris about this, it was like she was right there. Like everything just happened again. Like she just went through it yesterday, and they put her on a talk show the day after they rescued her, and they wanted to know everything. The emotion, the crying, her needing a cigarette, her just going from emotionless to reliving what happened. Like it was really, really jarring, so it doesn't make any sense why you would want to impose your will on someone like that, someone that genuinely thought they were going to get a modeling gig, let alone a kid. I can't comprehend that shit. That doesn't make any fucking sense to me. Like the idea of you wanting to like interact with, have sex with a child. What the fuck is wrong with you? That don't make sense. But seeing some of the, not the act itself, thank God, but seeing, the way these guys were within these still frames of pictures, the way they were like the posturing, the all of this weird shit with these young girls, it was fucking disgusting. And this goes back to my point. Like I'm saying, on one hand, I can't handle, I'm not a big social media fan. I like you, but if you're important, you're in my phone. I have your number, you know what I mean? I don't need to go on social media to hit you up type shit. I will, because there are some times where I have friends that are overseas or whatever, fine. But overall, I could give a damn. And then you have stuff like this, right? I don't want to look at it. I probably shouldn't be looking at it, right? But because of the time that we're in, and because of, my job as a, I am a content creator. I have a platform. This is my podcast. And though most of the time I like to keep things lighthearted and, never really like to focus on one thing. I kind of like to just have a bunch of like ideas bouncing off the wall. And then one day I'll catch one and then I'll talk about that. When something like this happens, it's really hard for me to say nothing. It doesn't sit right with me. These fucking pedophiles get to run around and do this shit. And now it's coming out, bro. And it's not coming out quick enough either, because the powers that be, these fucking donkeys still have a couple of strings left that they can pull. They're exhausting all of their resources, but we all know it's over. The game is over. It's over, bro. It's Jover. It's actually Jover. So, you just give it up. Just give it up. So one thing before I wrap up here, right? I don't know if we're going to wrap up. I don't know. I haven't talked to you guys in a little bit. Yeah, actually. Yeah, let's just keep going. My bad. So one thing I was thinking about, or me and a couple of my friends, what do you guys think the best way to kill a pedophile should be? I personally thought that burning them would be good. I thought burning, I think burning would be fun. You know, like your eyeballs pop out of your head when your body temperature is too high, extreme heat. So I mean, that'd be cool to see one of these guys like die by burning. One of my friends said put inside of a. Oh my god! Where's my phone? I forgot what she said. God damn it! Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Stand by. Stand by. All right, we're going to figure it out together. But you spin around so quick that it just turns your body into jello or something. Into just meat. I like that. Seems like a crazy, I mean, subterfuge. Yeah. Subterfuge. Yeah, I'd be down with that. I'd be down with subterfuge. And then, so this is because, you know, my friend Josie is just quite the, you know, she has quite the imagination, as do I. But she thinks that we should get all of the pedophiles and make them into their own human centipede, and don't stop until they all can make like a complete coil, and then we hang all of them like that, and then we have it as an art piece. You know, first of all, there are like so many goddamn different levels to that you know we're gonna talk about because we got the time today. I'm going outside today. But so for one, if we hang them, you know, you're not gonna keep the birds away. The birds are gonna have a field day. One, two. What happens when, you know, because, you know, pedophiles come in all shapes and sizes. So what if one of them is too heavy, and then one of the dead pedophiles just splats on the floor, and then his head goes tumbling, or you know what? No, that's not what would happen, right? Because it's fused to another pedophile's asshole. So that guy's ass has a pedophile head on it, and then the other the other guy is just dangling in the wind. I don't even know how it would work, but it seems. I mean, shit, it's worth a shot. It's worth a shot, right? So out of those three things: centrifuge, fire, and the human centipede hanging. You tell me what you would prefer to see, because I'm game for all of them. And now that I'm thinking about it, I think fire might be a little too tame, especially when put in the same category as those two things. I'm not sure. I feel like burning to death is a pretty bad way to die, but clearly it wasn't bad enough. So centrifuge and the human centipede one, I gotta be honest, I'm down with that, but that just sounds so intricate. You know what I mean? Like, that's a project, you know, so you would have to get people that are like 100% on board with this. And let's be honest, that's not going to be hard. Nobody likes pedophiles. But with that idea, you really have to put your mind into how, and then the other thing is, where is this? Oh my God, my eyebrow. Hold on. Great. The other thing is, where is this going to be? where are we hanging these? Where are we hanging the pedophiles? Like, where are they going to be? Are they going to be? They can't be just hung up in a city, because one day the inevitable is going to happen. One of the rotting limb is going to just fall on the hood of some guy's car while he's going to work. You know what I'm saying? So you can't do that. Oh my God. And then with the thing about hanging them, where are we go? And it's like, it's supposed to be an art piece. Who the fuck did she get this idea? Who told her this? I don't even know what the fuck any of that means. Oh my God. Because it's because centrifuge is such a, that I can wrap my head around that. We put you in this thing. You're going to go round and round at Mach whatever. And then we're going to open that door and you're going to spill out of it. I like that. Fire, you're going to run around like a dumbass, screaming, put me out, I'm sorry, mama, all this bullshit. No one's going to feel bad for you. We're probably going to laugh. But with the human centipede thing, don't get me wrong. I'm not against it. Fuck pedophiles. Hell nah. Hell nah. I'm down with that. But, you know what I mean? Like, that's some New World Order shit. Because that would probably go under cruel and unusual punishment. And then this, with the government we got right now, they're not going to let us do that. They're not even going to let us burn them. So I think centrifuge is we're probably closer to that than we are the other two options. Because the lethal injection, give me a fucking break. Give me a break. Give me a break. We're going to give this fuck a clean, peaceful death. Fuck you. Nah, gang, you gotta suffer a little bit. Like, what if we gave a weaker dosage of the lethal injection, and then we let like 5 or 6 of this fuck's victims come in and beat the hell out of him until he's dead? Like that a lot of people would probably get behind that. Like, that makes sense. But with the other thing, I don't know. It's all up in the air. We're all just talking here. It's just a conversation. You know what I'm saying? We're just writing things down. We're passing the note to somebody and hope to God they do something about it. That's all. But fire, I don't know. I think just that would be, there's something, fire. There's a lot of like poetry to that. Fire is cleansing. It cleanses all things, like trial by fire. You know what I mean? Like the purifying light. Like, I think that, like, if we're just talking about religious and just, I think more like belief shit, I think that's why I like it so much, because I'm such a storyteller. I want everything to just mean something. So fire makes a lot of sense to me. And then going back to centrifuge, like I said, bro, like, that's just something that I appreciate. I don't really have a lot of detail on it. I don't even know what it looks like. I don't even know what the hell it looks like. Is that something I can see? Extreme G's, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's see. Like, you spin someone so much, they just tweak, I guess. Can you kill someone that way? Now that I'm looking at it. Because that's like, those things, those amusement park rides where they put you in there and then you just fly around like an asshole. Like, that's what that is. It's just easy for me to root for that. The human centipede thing, bro, you're going to have to walk me through how that's going to work. Not that I'm not down. I'm definitely okay. I'm down with the idea, but I'm going to need a little more clarity on how that's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Damn. And like I'm telling you, This is the Purple Room recording, spitting fire in the booth, but I'm not a rapper. If you have ever in any point in time listened to my voice, I want to thank you. We are currently going through a lot of bullshit right now in the United States of America, and I want you to know that you're not alone. Like I said, bro, I don't give a fuck about politics. I never have. I've never been a big political person. The biggest, the most attention I ever paid to politics was when Obama got elected, but that was because that was literally history being made. You know what I mean? But outside of that, I've never really cared. Never gave a fuck, but if I am going to put my opinion where it matters, I think if everyone really cared about just preserving the world and making the world a better place, let's start with the United States, making the United States a better place for everybody else, we would have gave it to Bernie Sanders a long ass fucking time ago, and we would have just left it at that. Set it and forget it. He'll figure it the fuck out. If he doesn't, we got his back. I think that's, no matter what side you're on, I feel like we could all agree, like if there was a political candidate that had everyone's best interests at heart, it was that fucking guy. And they did everything to make sure that he didn't get it. Why was it? Was it because no one liked him? Was it because he was a leftist? Didn't have anything to do with any of that. It's because his agenda was 100% for the people, and for the people that were in charge, they didn't want that to happen. So whether you're red, blue, green, indigo, black, whatever the fuck, donkey, crocodile, alligator, elephant, whatever stupid ass political party you want to represent with, say what you want about the guy, but he gave a fuck about you. He cared about you. He had your best interests at heart, whatever side you stand on. And that's really all I got to say about politics. This is the Purple Room recording, spin fire in the booth, but I'm not a rapper. We've been doing this for a while now, and it still feels like it's the first time. It's never gonna get old. I'm always going to want to show up and talk to you guys. It might be forever, but it might be a week. You might see me tomorrow. You don't know. I might just pop out, pull up, walk in, everybody yell like, watch out. Come on, you don't know. But yeah, that's all I'm saying. It's crazy. It's a crazy world that we live in right now. Take care of yourself. Take care of others. Be safe, for fuck's sake. The Super Bowl is in my city. It's in Levi Stadium this year. I think that's really cool. I'm gonna see if I can hang out with some celebrities, see what to do, you know what I'm saying? But don't forget to bring an umbrella. For the people that are on YouTube, one more thing before I go. Because I was at a party a while ago, over the summer, and I was talking to somebody, and I was telling them, you exchange information, what you do, what I do, and I was telling them I have a podcast, and they wanted to see my platform. I showed them, and with the expression that I say, don't forget to bring an umbrella, they were like, what does that mean? Like, that doesn't make, why do I need an umbrella? So the way that I have always interpreted, so first of all, I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder when I was 19 years old. And the way it felt for me, like when they asked me like what it felt like, I described it as it's always raining, but I forgot my umbrella at home. You know what I mean? So when I was going through, like, you just have the coping mechanisms you use to just be a stronger individual, and like you can get through these things, that was like my umbrella. So I never went anywhere without it, so the umbrella is like just me being my fucking amazing bombastic self, no matter how hard it's storming outside. You know what I'm saying? It can storm all goddamn day. I got my rain boots, I got my umbrella, I got my nice pants. I'm out here living like a goddamn doctor. You ain't got nothing to eat. Who's gonna stop me? Huh? Some rain? You better bring the typhoon. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. And then she ended up giving me a really big hug, right in the middle of the function. That was really cool. But that's what that means. If anybody was ever, was ever wondering, because I think one of the underlying things about the podcast that I always just wanted to, that I've always talked about, like, sparingly, was mental health and how important it is to take care of yourself before anybody else gets a crack at you, because we as people, we want to give as much as of ourselves to everybody else before we give it to, the real person, the star player, the way we look at in the mirror, you know what I'm saying? And I think that it's important to just take the time to make sure that you're good. That's all I'm saying. But I didn't mean to get all sappy or, to delve too deep into that. But I think because, like I said, this is a big thing. Like, I'm transitioning to YouTube. So a lot of you don't know the lore behind a lot of the stuff that I do. Like that raven with the skull and the skull standing on the skull. You don't know what that means. You have no idea what that means. Why the lights are purple. You don't know. So, I'm just going to explain it, one day at a time. I'll see you guys next time. Don't forget to bring an umbrella. Let's rain.